right, everybody, we're live right here at 8181 Southwest Freeway, Kprc, Channel 2, our first TV station here in Houston, Texas, y'all. It was Kprc. And before they moved out here in 1972, when they started the broadcasting, it was at 3010 Post Oak Road, y'all. It wasn't no street, it was a road, because in 1953, Houston did not go that far. But it was still part of Harris County. And what can I say? Thank you to the Hobby family, because they the one bought the first television station here 75 years ago. That's what we celebrating today in 2024. 75 years since television been here in Houston. Thanks to the Hobby family and Kprc for bringing us TV, what we know today as television. 75 years ago. In case you all know about the Hobby family, he was the governor of the state of Texas. His son, Bill Hobby Jr., was the lieutenant governor of the state of Texas, and they named the airport after him, which is William P. Hobby. And he also bought the first radio station here, which was Kprc, and the first newspaper here in Houston, which was the Houston Post. But today we celebrating 75 years of television. And the first television station here was Kprc. And what can I say? Who bought us the first color television here in 1959? Kprc. And we're so honored to celebrate 75 years, 2024 today, about Kprc and their 75th anniversary here of broadcasting here. And just a little bit of history before we do anything further. The Hobby family bought the station in 1949, and they moved it over there on Post Oak Road in 1953 for their first studio. And in 1972, they moved it over here in 8181 Southwest Freeway. But we're talking about television, y'all. And when you talk about television here in Houston, you can't mention much but Kprc. And when they bought in television here, a lot of shows was done on the radio. Before 1949, here in Houston, Texas, we did not have any TV. Only thing we had was radio. So all the kids and the children that was born in the 1950s, we were raised up on TV. And me raised up in 1949, I was born in 1948, but I remembered looking at television, and the first TV station that we looked at was Kprc TV2. And later we got another station out of Galveston, which was KHOU, which was Channel 11 in 1953. And then in 1954, we had a television station that come to Third Ward, and that was KTRK. But today we're celebrating 75 years of Kprc. We're celebrating another 75 years of us being here in Houston, Texas, and the television being here in Houston, Texas, and the TV station here in Houston, Texas. And like I said, TV came up in 1948, but we didn't get a station down here until 1949, and then we didn't get the broadcasting until the 50s. That's when the Hobby family took over the station and changed the call letter from KLEE to Kprc. And we're so thankful for the Hobby family for bringing us all this communication to Houston, Texas. And when they sold the station out, they sold it to the Graham Media Corporation, and that's who owns it today. And it is the only independent station here in Houston that is owned by a media corporation, because Channel 13, which is celebrating 70 years, they're owned by Disney. And Disney owns the whole network of ABC. But Graham do not own the network of NBC. Graham is a media corporation who bought the station from the Harvey family, and they're doing a good job. Every station here in Houston, Texas, our TV stations, are doing a great job. As we talk about 75 years, and like I said, when they bought color TV here in 1959, few people had color TVs. And the only programs that was coming out in 1959 in color was here at NBC. It was the Peacock. And what the Peacock would do, it would show you all, it would spread its wing and show you all these different colors, red, yellow, blue, and to let you know this is NBC and this is color. And see, we didn't get a color TV until 1962. And when we left, the only thing I ever watched in color was baseball games on Saturday. Most of the programs that you see today are back in the day when color TV came out in '59. NBC had the first program in '59 that was in color. And the thing about it, and then by 1967, 68, they were still broadcasting most shows in black and white. But in the 70s, most of the black and white programs converted over to color, which we got today. And one thing about it, as we talk about 75 years of broadcasting here in Houston, Texas, and Kprc, we can't help but to mention the network. When they started this here, it was VHF. VHF means very high frequency. And that's what Kprc was, that's what KHOU was, and that's what KTRK was. VHF, very high frequency. But then in 1967, UHF came in. What was UFH? Ultimate high frequency. And the first one came in was channel 39 in 1967. And then in 1971, another UHF came in, which is very ultimate modulation. That's what VHF stands for, very high frequency. And that's what NBC and CBS and ABC was about. But we're talking about 75 years, y'all, of KPRC, and the oldest television station here. And like I said, all the kids that were raised up in the 50s, we were raised up on television. We were blessed to have TV, because all the kids from the 40s and the 30s and the 20s, all them people had to listen to was the radio, which we call audio. And those were the people that used to sit around and listen to shows like Amos and Andy that eventually translated over into television. Also the Lone Ranger, which eventually turned into television. And also Superman, who turned over from radio to television. All of these shows was on the radio and they converted over to the television. But we are so happy and so honored to give this 75th anniversary to our oldest television station here in Houston, KPRC. And what can I say about the Harvey family? They the one bought this here television station here to Houston. And what can I say about the Graham Media Corporation, who own the station today? They're giving us good programming, y'all. And I'm so thankful that we can honor these television stations, because we need these television stations to keep us up on what's going on around this big old city we call H-Town, which is Houston. And as I close out, we want to close out with this star, which means the Lone Star. We are the Lone Star of the United States. We are the only star on the United States flag that can stand alone. It's Texas. Because we got our own oil, we got our own vegetables, we got our own fruit down in the valley, we got our own cattle, which is meat, we got our own chickens, we got everything we need. That's why we are called the Lone Star State of Texas. That's why the Houston Astros carry a star for the Astros. In Dallas, they carry another star for the Cowboys. We are the only two, which is the two, well, that time is the two major cities in the state of Texas, Houston and Dallas. That's why Houston represents, the star represents the baseball team here in Houston. The star up in Dallas represents the football team in Texas. And that's why it's so important. That's why the state passed a law that you need to have your license plate be able to have a visibility to show the sign of a Lone Star State on your license plate that you carry around on your car. Again, thank you very much, and thank you Kprc for 75 years of broadcasting here in Houston, Texas, and still going strong. Thank you to Graham Media Corporation, the Graham Media Corporation, thank you for carrying on the legacy that the Hobby family created here in Houston, Texas. Thank you. God bless you.